Hello and welcome in to the Sport.Fun strategy show. I am Andrew Laird, joined once again by PSU fans too. Today to talk about a few things, including whether, when, if the NFL market cap passes football or soccer, we don't want to keep confusing the two sports. Sean, good to see you. What's up?
Not too much. Just chilling. Got a vacation coming up. I'm excited about that. I need to get away from like day-to-day life. I'm sure as someone with kids also, you probably feel the same, but you never do. So I do a little bit. You never do. When was the last time you and your wife went on just like a trip, the two of you?
Just the two of us?
Yeah.
We went away for like 2 nights in December.
Yeah, that's all that matters. 2 nights.
Plane, awesome. Like we drove somewhere. Yeah.
Just going, being by yourselves for a couple nights is like the best.
It's literally like the most refreshing thing you can do. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, you have too many kids to really just do it. Like we have one, so like being like, hey, can you watch our one kid is different than like you being like, hey, can you watch our 3 kids? But your kids are getting to an age now where they're old enough to like go sleep over at a friend's house or something, whereas our kid is not at that point. Yeah. But you probably go through, I imagine, as you probably went through it, there's definitely a time frame where when you have 3 kids and they're of the ages of like 4, 6, and 8 or whatever, you can't really get rid of all of them at one time. But you're probably getting to the age now where you can.
Yeah. Like my oldest is 15.
Yeah, he can probably stay by himself.
And yeah, it's getting much easier. We basically, when it comes to like getting rid of them to go away, it's really just one that we have to like really figure out. That's all. Anyway, we were just talking a second ago about SDF marketing. For those of you who didn't catch it, the third half podcast yesterday was with Caleb and Jordy talking about all the marketing stuff that they're doing, building out SDFN. And I was saying to Sean, one of the nice things to hear from them yesterday was that A, they see everybody who is commenting when marketing and all this stuff, and B, they totally understand that when people ask when marketing, they're really asking when users, and that's the key. And Sean, you were just saying, like, what does it even mean when people are like, what marketing they want to see? Like, what is it? And I think I've said that for a while, of just like, when people think of marketing, they're like, what do you want? Like commercials during the Super Bowl? Like what do you want? And ultimately nobody cares what the marketing is as long as the users come.
It's like, it's the old sower when prem.
Yeah, totally.
Sower when prem. Like, yeah, I mean, marketing, like the thing is you have to have marketing and it has to work and it has to be functional. And like marketing is there in all sorts of different ways. Like I remember the sower marketing, you would see like the end boards at the games.
Yep.
Well, that's marketing. Is it effective? I don't know, because there's obviously effective and ineffective marketing. And I'm not a marketing person. I have no idea how to do marketing stuff. But it is always funny when everyone's just like, when marketing? Like, when are you guys going to bring on these people and stuff? And the reality with the situation is, yeah, they just mean like, when are there going to be more users? And it's another thing where like, you don't just all of a sudden have new users like within a second. It sometimes takes a while, and it also takes times at different parts of the year. Like I think it was very clear that like this year was kind of like a beta version of everything on Sport.Fun. And so the issue is like, yeah, you're not going to market for the NFL in February when the season doesn't start for like 6 to 7 months. So it's one of those things that it just doesn't immediately pop over and just, oh, all of a sudden there's billions of people on the platform. It needs to take a little bit of time from there. That said, like sometimes it can happen like that. Sometimes like just the right thing was hit at the right time and it just, oh, boom, you just have a massive influx of people and users. So it can work like that. It also cannot work like that, because I think a lot of marketing, again, I'm not a marketing person, but this is how at least I view marketing. A lot of marketing is like trial and error, where you're just like trying shit and some of it's going to fail and you're not going to get users in. And then you do the one thing that just all of a sudden captures a good chunk of people and then boom, they're on.
Yeah, I think I actually had this conversation the other day, basically like the difference between marketing and advertising. And I think people kind of mix them up, that advertising is literally like consciously trying to sell you one specific thing, whereas marketing is more just trying to get your brand known to people. And that's really where they are right now. Like they're not big enough to be specifically advertising certain things. And like you said, you're not going to advertise a fantasy NFL game in April. And yeah, I think a lot of it is just like brand recognition takes a long time, but it also takes a lot of work over that time. And they're obviously doing that work. And like you said, it's not like you just turn marketing on and a million users show up. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So again, I think people are just like, yeah, when users is really the question. And it's not like they're sitting there like we don't want any more users. We're good. Like obviously they want the same thing we do. And just hearing kind of like some of the ideas that Caleb and Jordy were talking about yesterday. But I said to you, like they have very big plans for SDFN, and I'm struggling to see how big it can get. Yeah.
No, that all checks out. I can see that.
Anyway, so NFL launched mid-season. We kind of knew. I think NFL felt way more beta than the football season, just because we had like a true beta going like last year, the leading up to the Champions League, Club World Cup, and stuff like that. I don't even know where the numbers are right now in terms of market cap, but do you think like where do you see them? I don't need like specific numbers and not financial advice, all that good stuff, but like do you see NFL surpassing football this season?
I think it's definitely possible. It's definitely in play, I would feel, based on just the trends of stuff. I think that things move over time. They've shifted towards more so NFL sort of coming towards the closer cap, I would say, of the soccer product. That said, I mean, the current base is mostly soccer people, and a lot of the base is people that were brought on via soccer and when that launched. So I could see it being a thing in which we see NFL rise if the marketing works and is actually geared towards the people that would come on for NFL, because the market moves pretty quickly. And another thing, and I think this is a big thing that we see, is people will flock to what they think is going to be going up at the time. So if people see NFL going up 10, 20% a week over a course of time, and soccer is relatively stagnant over that time, it's realistic to view people moving and being like, oh, I'm going to go towards NFL because that's the one that's going up. So I definitely think it's at least in play. That said, I'm not going to expect it. I don't know how likely that is. I could see both of them going up from where they are currently, because again, it goes back to the whole thing of if you do get users in the rate in which I know they're obviously going to be trying to do, if you get those users, both will go up pretty substantially. So it's just a matter of like, will NFL sort of take the reins once it gets to that point? And that's the answer. I don't know. Well, I'm curious what your thoughts are on it.
I think we've learned over the last few months is that it doesn't take a lot to move players and market caps in either direction, meaning it doesn't take thousands of users to do it just because there are not that many people on the platform right now. And so if there is kind of even a relatively small wave of people, it could move things pretty significantly. And yeah, we're in like the deadest time. And I feel like we keep saying that, but like it hasn't changed. We know that NFL is fairly quiet now until the draft comes up. And even then, it's not like people are rushing to do fantasy drafts as soon as the NFL draft is over. And so we're in this kind of, that limbo period. Where are we now? I'm trying to see how many weeks, 7 of 22 of the off season. And with the World Cup coming, whether we see, it sounded like they're going to have a pretty major push in May to get people interested in the platform or hearing of the platform ahead of the World Cup, and hopefully riding that wave in. I think the biggest question that I keep coming to for the NFL product is, like, you and I know enough people, you certainly way more than me, who play high stakes, and doesn't even have to be high stakes, but either it's DFS NFL or prop betting, sports betting, prediction markets are now taking that over. Like, what do you think how much crossover do you think there is amongst that user base? Now, I know a lot of like traditional fantasy football players have like some have moved to DFS or prop bets, and something like Sport.Fun is probably not something that they're going to be interested in. But do you think that there's enough parallels that now that prediction markets are kind of a thing that it'll be easier to convert those types of users? You're muted.
My bad. I think there's definitely a good overlap in terms of what those users would be looking for. Because when you realistically look at those users, especially the higher volume players, and this is something that we've talked about before in regards to SoRare as well, is like people want 1,000 small users and they just bash the sort of high-end users. But reality is that the high-end users are what sort of create products and sort of carry products like this, especially when they're at smaller levels, because they can control a good chunk of the market cap. They can control a good chunk of the shares and users of players. So if you don't have those guys, also like those are the type of people that are going to be there for a long term a lot of the time, because they're not just looking to move in and out of it for like 5% return on their investment. They're looking to smash and make a massive return on their investment. So I think it's one of those things where they are definitely an overlapping group. And I've even thought about it from the perspective of some of the people I know. And some of the people have come on, like some of the people that I knew that I brought on, like are involved with both products. But someone can come on, put in, let's say $10,000, $20,000. Maybe they are playing a lot higher levels in DFS than that. They can come on here, do that. It's going to be pretty stable in terms of you're not like going to just outright lose it every week. You're going to be able to recoup some of it week in, week out as season goes, regardless of the sport. And also, like if things are successful and the marketing does take off to the levels in which they expect, like we've already seen the soccer market cap be well over 30 million. We've seen it be at 160. Now, granted, obviously that was a bit of a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
But we've seen it be well over 30 and be there for good chunks of time. What's to say NFL can't get there? Well, if NFL gets to a 30 million market cap and you're winning along the way, you're positioned to just make a lot of profit off of that with relatively low risk. And I think that's part of it too, is that the risk isn't substantial. Like someone that is, let's say, playing $20,000, $30,000 a week in NFL in terms of DFS, putting $20,000, $30,000 into something like this is not the end of the world to them, because if they lose, it's just like you had one bad week in terms of NFL DFS where you just lost a lot. So I think that there is some overlap. Now, that said, I don't think that the overlap is fully the same, because obviously in terms of NFL DFS, like you are playing $20,000, $30,000, but you have the chance to win like $1 million a week. In Football.Fun and the NFL product, you're not looking to make $1 million a week. Like if you have a really good week, you might make, let's say, if your value is like $20,000, you might be making, let's say, $1,000, $2,000. But your real play is that things take off from a market perspective, and then you turn your $10,000 primary investment into, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000. So there are some overlapping features and views on it, and then there are some that just do not line up in the same way.
So there are a couple things there that I think you made some really good points. And because essentially my question at some point was going to be, if there's overlap, like why wouldn't they join? And I think the Millie Maker thing is a big part of it. Now, there are plenty of people that like basically grind cash games and all that stuff, and will put tens of thousands of dollars on cash games, but they also probably have some tournament entries to like essentially, I was going to say protect the upside, but essentially to have the upside that's there. Is that like, do you think that's actually the biggest hindrance to getting those types of users on the platform?
I think that's definitely part of it. I think another part of it is like a lot of, at least currently, like this is the current landscape of where we're at. users that would be coming on now, for the most part, have some crypto experience and have been involved with NFTs to some extent. Like, would you agree? Like, most people that have interest currently, that's kind of the group that we're looking at.
Absolutely.
That group has gone through tons of failures. They have seen failure after failure after failure. So when you're sitting there and you throw proposals to them, they're just like, what makes this different than Sower? What makes this different than Gods Unchained? What makes this different than CryptoPunks? All this other stuff that has massively failed over the course of time. And they're just like, you know what? I need to see this succeed for a while before I have interest in this. And then all of a sudden they see, let's say we were up to, soccer was at 165 million market cap. Well, it's now at like 11 or 12. Again, that was a blip on the radar and was caused by not the most natural things. But what happens is people see that and then they're just like, well, why are you not at 165 million? Because they weren't involved at that time, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know. They're just like, well, it's at 165 and now it's at 10 or 11 or 12. That doesn't
look good. Yeah.
Now it's one of those things also though, like as FDF lasts for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you slowly see it start to progress upwards and you sort of see it expand a little bit, that gives those people a little bit of interest and that gives those people a little bit of confidence that, okay, this product has lasted longer than what a lot of these other products have done, and it has grown and it has exceeded what it started at. So I'm more interested this time. So that's part of it. A lot of the user base and the clientele that would be interested, that would be like, if I approached someone today and I'm just like, hey, this is what's going on. If they were involved with NBA Top Shots, they were involved with Sower, they were involved with all these others, like they're going to be skeptical. And the only real way that you can calm skepticism, there's basically two approaches in that situation, is like, yeah, hey, this is a risky product that could be a failure or it could succeed. And if it succeeds, you're going to massively return off what your investment is. The other approach from these people is, yeah, you know, I just am not interested right now. I want to see a little bit more out of it. It's got to prove to me it has some longevity and sticking power before I get invested. And that person, like, it's a lot harder to sort of convince that person of the positives with things until they see that sticking power and the longevity, because they need to see it. If they're not seeing it, that's the only way they can realistically like prove to them that it is a lasting concept.
Is there any reason to think that the opportunity for, actually, let me pull back on this for a second. So the way that I'm picturing this is it probably takes 2 or 3, let's just call them NFL, DFS, or sports betting whales to come on the platform and like it. Once you get 2 or 3 of them and they get it, does everybody follow?
It's a lot easier to follow once you have a couple people championing it that are more viewed in that community as like, right. Okay, yeah. Because like we saw it too in DFS, like a lot of people moved to like Top Shots, and some people were very successful in Top Shots and then just took their money and ran. And some people stuck and sat there and held and then failed. So it's one of those things that definitely, if you sort of see it happening, it helps. Also from that perspective, like let's say you bring on 2-3 DFS whales that bring on $100,000-$200,000. Well, all of a sudden the market's going up substantially during that time frame. Then also like people that are currently on are more ready to go and they're putting more, and all of a sudden market cap's gone up 30%. Like even just like we've talked about it, the run up we've seen in the last 2 weeks in NFL, it's caused people to start spending a little bit more in NFL, including yourself. Like you saw that there was upticks and stuff. You saw that we sort of got to a bottom and it sort of stabilized around that bottom. And then since that bottom, like, I mean, the market in NFL is up 20-25% in the last, I would say 3 weeks. And that's with like nothing happening really, because people saw the market stop going down. It stopped going down and it started slowly inching back up. It didn't need to go up. It doesn't need to go up like 1,000%. it started going up 3% today. Then the next day it was up another 2%. Then the next day it was up another 1 or 2%. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, we hit the bottom and now we're going up. I need to start getting my money in NFL. So like even yourself, like you've moved some of your winnings from soccer, some of your soccer balance into NFL because you saw that and you're like, all right, well, if we've hit the bottom, I want to get more involved with the NFL product. And you've been able to start slowly adding some pieces in NFL. But what happens is like, if NFL takes off, like let's say we just get a couple big people come in and then all of a sudden the market cap's up to like 5-6 million, then you're at a point where it's like a lot of people are coming in. But then what happens is you get to a point where like people are like, oh, I could have had it at 3 million market cap. I don't want to come in at a 6 million market cap, which we've talked about before. So it's kind of a catch-22. Like you got to sort of figure out what the right balance is. I think the way you're doing it makes sense. Like you sort of saw it get to that bottom point, and now you're like slowly dollar cost averaging in twice a week on people that Spicer doesn't own. Right? Have you bought Mahomes in the last couple weeks?
No, I don't think I ever actually bought Mahomes.
Yeah, I bought him at one point. I own him right now, but I just am not changing much right now during the off season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sold as soon as they got eliminated from the playoffs.
Makes sense.
Like from playoff contention, and I was just like, I'm good.
I bought at some point when I bought probably pretty close to his lowest point, honestly.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andy Mack coming in. Sorry, I didn't see that comment until now. Thanks, Andy. Do you think that there is a problem with Sport.Fun versus DFS, that it's not as PvP as it should be? Like a lot of DFS is winning money from other people. I'm smarter than that guy. Whereas Sport.Fun is kind of, we can all have the same guys and we all win. We can all win with the same players, but I'm not actually taking your money.
I think honestly, a lot of Sport.Fun is PvP and it is PvP. It's just not like portrayed as that. And I don't think the user base has fully bought into that yet. Because I think a lot of it is like, if your players are doing poorly, you're going to do poorly. And someone else whose players are doing well, they are going to do well. Similarly, like if you are bought in fully to Mahomes and I'm bought in fully to Josh Allen is smashing, like I'm being successful and likely his price is going up while you're sitting there losing because Mahomes is not getting TP and his price is going down. So I actually think there's a lot more PvP aspects to things than what the overall user base views. And I think maybe that'll get more clarified as like time goes as well.
I don't,
because it's not a PvE, right? It's not like player versus environment. It is a PvP in some ways. It's just not viewed completely as like a PvP because you're not, like you said, you're not just in a head-to-head against me every week. Like So Rare has like leaderboards that are, you get your results based on where you finish on the leaderboard, regardless of your port value, regardless of what you have. And I think like picks is kind of shifting towards that a little bit, right? Because you can very clearly see where you're finishing among your peers and other users. So I think there is a lot of PvP aspects to things. It's just not viewed fully that way from the entire user base.
Yeah, I think yeah, the way I looked at it, and like you said, like it's not exactly PvP in terms of like you win and you now have my money, which is kind of how. But I do think that so much of at least DFS is catered around building things that beat other people.
Correct.
And now with Sport.Fun, we know if you have a ton of shares of guys who are low owned, not a lot of active shares, and therefore you get more if they win, but you're not necessarily like taking from others. They're just not winning as much as you. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing is like the market and the way that everything works and the way that the TP works is like the TP offsets the market moving a bit. So it's one of those things where you have to sort of understand that you are against other users, even if it doesn't seem like you're against other users day in, day out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. I'm not necessarily targeting specific people to play and head-to-heads and stuff like that. So yeah, Jules here is looking for financial advice, which we can't give, but I'm sure we can comment on it. Don't know for you, but I invested quite a lot from my budget at the end of 2025 only in football because I don't know anything about NFL and not interested in it with it, and I can invest more. But to me, it recently became too uncertain to invest on SDF. Just kind of funny because I feel like it's actually been quite stable for a while to actually, although like the football market cap is moving in the wrong direction. I'll put it. I'll at least say that.
I think from a non-financial advice perspective, if I was investing anything right now, I would much rather it go into NFL than soccer. Would you agree with that?
So I think about this like all the time because I think it depends on the time frame. Like I think the next big event that moves either market cap is the World Cup.
Yeah, unless it doesn't, and then it's the start of the NFL season.
Yeah, I guess the way that I think about it is I don't see the NFL market cap potential as high until the World Cup as soccer.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I guess I could see that. I think that if I was looking at stuff, I would be more interested in the NFL side of things. But yeah, back to Jules's comment, I think that everything for the most part is uncertain in terms of where the platform's at because it's in its smaller, younger stages in general, and it's not really going to change from that for a little bit. Like we are in such an early stage where if it's successful, it's going to be massively above where we are at currently. If it is not successful, then the investment is not going to be successful, obviously. So I think that realistically, you have to be understanding that your investment, if you are putting it into the platform, is based on your hope and your belief that the product is going to be successful long term, more so than just like, is it risky right now? Is it certain right now? Because what's already been established, I would say, in the last 2 months is everything is so young and in its early stages that stuff is going to be constantly changing going forward in some ways to hopefully continuously improve the product. Some things will be beneficial. Some things will turn out not to be beneficial, or at least viewed that way from the user base. So it's kind of a long-term investment type of thing with the idea of like, I believe the product, and I believe this is really for all crypto products, is like they are riskier investments, but the upside in them is pretty massive. So you just have to decide for yourself, like, am I willing to put whatever I am for the investment? Like, am I okay with that being a rather risky investment compared to a non-risky investment?
Palmer said, it's interesting to hear the word invest. I've always seen it as I'm playing SDF, and if I play well, I win money. I think people use the word invest pretty liberally.
I think it's a fair word usage. Like to me, like the investment in Sport.Fun is I'm investing in a more of a unique investment opportunity / more risky investment that has a lot of upside within it, is kind of the way that I look at it. Andy brings up a reasonable point. I play SDF and I invest in the token. That's fair as well, because I guess that makes sense, because you are playing FDF. You're not really playing like with the fun token. You're just sort of investing in the fun token, I would guess. So yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think the word invest isn't accurate, and like it's not accurate because the share prices are really dependent on like what happens on the field.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, it could be also like one of these things, like this might be a way that I think it makes sense. So I play poker, but I invest in my poker bankroll.
Yeah.
So I'm investing in my poker bankroll, but I'm playing poker with that bankroll, which like that to me feels like a reasonable way. Palmer says, do people invest in SORA or do they play SORA? I would more so like say that SORA sucks, but that's my view on that one.
I think there are a lot of people who play SORA and consider it and use the word invest.
Well, I think this is how I would describe it from a SORA perspective. we're only going to use in-season competitions because I think anyone not doing that is like, you're not getting into Sower to play Classic. Like, just not happening anymore. So the way I would view it is I'm investing in my Sower like portfolio of like my in-season cards, and then I'm playing Sower weekly, trying to recoup my investment for that. There you go. Jules is a pro online poker player. So Jules, the way that I would describe it personally would be like, I'm investing. The issue is, it's not like poker. If you're a pro, if you played professionally online poker, your bankroll, you're pretty confident that your ROI over time is going to be a profitable investment. So like in terms of the day-to-day risk, you're not you're going to have a lot of variance because your day-to-day results are going to be very highly fluctuating possibly, whereas your long-term investment is going to be more stable. So the way that I would view it is that you are investing into your Sport.Fun portfolio and your investment, but it's just, the issue is it's not like poker in that you would view it as a less risky proposition, because again, if you are an online poker player that is playing professionally, you likely don't view it as a super risky long-term play. You view it as a non-risky long-term play because you know over the long run you're going to be a profitable player. Whereas Sport.Fun is a more riskier investment that, if it is successful, is going to make way more than what you did in your poker playing. It's going to make you, let's say, 20, 30x, whereas your poker playing, like, you're just looking to continuously grow your bankroll and expand it. So a little bit different from the perspectives, but it's at least in a similar ballpark to me.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of people who think of, I'm putting money in with the potential of getting more money out, just consider that an investment, whether it's actually considered that or not. Palmer said, do you feel that holding an investment mentality puts barriers up with users? Those who do it for fun and not caring about the market cap, those investings have their emotions dictated by the market cap and others. It's a great question.
I think the answer to that is yes. I think that once you view it as like, I bought in at this price and I'm not going to sell him below this price, and then he goes below that price and then you're just pissed off, is a definite barrier from a mentality perspective. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that is a barrier that causes some issues. Whereas like if you're just playing and you're succeeding and you're doing well, you're maybe not looking at that as much. But the issue is that I think it is hard to separate the two, because you are investing, you are putting money into something, and everyone is not putting money on to lose. Like, everyone is putting money on planning to increase that money that they're putting on, because if they're not doing that, they would just like play FIFA or something where you're going to not make any money back from it.
And he said you would trade meme coins, not invest in them. You trade player shares to play a game. To me, not an investment, although there could be huge upside if all goes well. I did a video months ago about basically the way that I look at Sport.Fun was the shares I buy are the pieces of a game. Like, you need to buy those to play the game. And so, and I've said it to Palmer a couple of times. Once I buy shares, I have no idea. Like, I don't think about what I paid for them.
Yeah.
It's not like I look at a current price of a player and I was like, oh man, I bought him at here, and I don't know. And I think it's just for the better, because it's easier to play the game that way, at least for me, than, because I'm like with Andy. I think we're just kind of trading shares as part of the game. But maybe because I tend not to trade specifically to make money on the trades, if that makes sense.
It does, but I also think like there is some merit to it. So Jules says, I love football so much, to me, I can invest in playing at the same time. I think the way you need to look at it, Jules, that would probably help you, is just like, I like the concept, because it does seem like you enjoy the concept, and then view it, be like, I'm willing to invest this amount. It is a more risky investment, but I like the concept. I think it can be successful. If it's successful, I have a pretty good opportunity to 10, 20x my investment, but there is some heavy risk in it. If it's not successful, then it's not successful, and I will likely lose that investment. That would be how I would look at it, Jules. I think that's the best way to sort of approach it, knowing that like, you're coming in, I'm going to be here for the long haul. If it's a failure, I can live with that result. If it's successful, I position myself in a position in which I will be very successful with it. So I think that's kind of how I would look at it.
And do you think that is this an investment is a hindrance to people joining?
I think it could be. I think that it's definitely, the issue is that currently I think it's for me, it's hard to funnel out the playing the game and the investment. If you're coming in, let's say with $5,000, like you are coming in with $5,000, that's your investment. To me, it's hard to separate that fully from I'm playing the game versus I'm investing $5,000 trying to increase that $5,000. So if that is your plan, I think that that's the best approach you can go with it. But again, I think the real mentality barrier is that people are so locked in on having to have it be a profitable investment that whenever it is down at any point, they are upset about it. And it bothers them from a mental perspective. That's why I think, like, again, it's tough. I'll go back to the poker thing. You sort of have to, like, the only way you can play poker properly is if you value the money, but you also have a disregard for it in a way in which you're like making the right decisions at all times, regardless of how much the financial impact is. So when I was younger and I would play poker, like I would play in, let's say, a tournament at a local card room or casino, and I was playing, or let's say I was playing a cash game, and all of a sudden I'm in a big hand where I have a lot of money invested. I'm scared of losing the money and I have to make a decision, and that comes into my decision. That shouldn't come into my decision. My decision making should be made off of purely, I need to make the correct decision at this time, regardless of the financial impact of things, good or bad. I have to make the correct decision at this time. And I think that's something that it's difficult for some people to do because they're just coming in. They're like, I'm investing this $5,000, and then it's down to like $4,500, and they're just immediately like upset about it and not happy.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like if you come in with the mentality, this sounds very arrogant. If you come in with the mentality that I have of buy shares so you can participate in the game,
correct,
then it's just an easier mental hurdle when inevitably the price goes down. Like that's why I always struggled with people who were so concerned with the value of their Sorare portfolio.
Yeah,
mostly because you and I know that it was usually not worth that much anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, my gallery's worth $50,000. And we'd look at it and we were like, it's worth like 12, but whatever you think. And completely ignoring what they could have won with that gallery. And I feel like, and the Sport.Fun guys know this, that it's because it's so difficult to see exactly how much TP your shares have won of a certain player. I could have, $5,000 of Yamal and have and I could buy $5,000 worth of Yamal, have it go down to 2,000, but I've won 4,000 in rewards. Like we don't know that. And so because the share price is the only thing that we can look at to say, did I get this right? And for the most part on the soccer side, we've been wrong.
Correct.
If you look at it that way, then I feel like that's the biggest hindrance to relying on the market to figure out whether you're doing well or not.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's a very valid concept with it. And that's like, for me, I think part of it too is like we came from Sorare, so we sort of know what to expect from that stuff. And I think that that's a big concept with it. Like we've talked about it for NFL. Like there was times in NFL where if you bought $200 of a player and you finished like fourth on the week at any point, you would recoup your money in terms of value regardless. Didn't matter what that player went up or down in money. Like you just would get effectively that much in rewards on average anyways. So it's definitely something to consider that I think some people struggle to consider. They just see the price of that player has gone down or up, and that dictates their stuff. But yeah, I think for me, a lot of it is just like I came in with an amount that I was comfortable investing and planned to be here for the long run. Now, that said, if we ever get back to 250 million market cap, I will sell some on the way up there. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I think that there's definitely some some issues where people just, a lot of the crypto space, and this is just, I think, an overall crypto space issue. People want to make a quick buck, and as soon as they can't make a quick buck, they just get all pissy. And then what's left on stuff is a lot of people that had the opportunity to make a quick buck as it was like going skyrocketing, and then they didn't, and then they're pissed. And then they keep a continuously pissed sentiment of like, why can't we just be where we were at like when this happened? When in reality, it's like that was an abnormal situation. That wasn't like a realistic long-term situation. That's why it came back down to more realistic heights. But yeah, like I said, like I came on, planned to be here for the long term, put an investment in that I was comfortable with losing if it is not successful. And if it is successful, I know I'm positioned in a way in which I can do very well. Because honestly, like I'm not rich by any means. You're not rich by any means, but I do know a lot of people that I would classify as rich that have made a lot of money via business decisions like this and stuff like this. And the way in which they get rich is they fail a lot, but they continuously put themselves in these positions where when they're successful, they're going to 20, 30x their money. So yeah, they might fail 7 times in a row, but when then you have that success and you 30x what you put in, and it was the same amount you put in on those 7 failures, you're in great shape. And then all of a sudden, the next time that they go into the same situation, yeah, they failed 7 times and succeeded 1 time. And that 1 time netted them 25x the amount of money. Well, all of a sudden, now they have a lot more money to spend. So all of a sudden, they were, let's say in that first situation, they spent $1,000 on every option, and then they 25x'd it. Boom. All right, they got 25,000. Well, now they spend $3,000 on every one of these bullets. And again, same ratio. And I listened to someone talked about like a day trader and just in general business perspective. Like I know someone that, are you familiar with Kava Grill?
Yeah.
I know someone that was like in ground floor of Kava Grill and has equity from like ground floor of Kava Grill.
Silly.
Well, they probably like made a shitload X on their money, but like they could have easily failed. Like the concept could have easily failed. So the idea to me, and like I've sort of looked at this as I've gotten older, this wasn't something I did when I was younger because I didn't have the financial means to do it. But it's kind of just you speculate on things. It's like, oh, I like this product. I like this concept. I think it can be very successful. And as long as you are right, occasionally it offsets being wrong way more frequently.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that's a pretty standard like venture capital investment plan of to spread it around and one hits, which makes sense. So the other thing I wanted to go back to in terms of potential NFL growth versus football growth. And like I said, the next big event is World Cup. And so, but I think we would just both agree that the potential upside of NFL is so much higher.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I think this way, and this is going to come out like as if I know everybody in the world, but it just feels like there are way more fantasy NFL people. Full stop. There are way more people who play fantasy NFL.
Yeah.
And if there are way more people to play fantasy NFL, then there are going to be way more people who play like high stakes NFL than they do a World Cup or a fantasy Premier League. And so tapping into those people, or they're just, high, they don't even have to be high stakes, but I'll keep saying that, like high stakes sports bettors, whether they bet on games or props, people who are now like prediction market whales and stuff like that. It just feels like the opportunity to getting a lot of those people who are interested in the NFL is so much higher than soccer.
Yeah, well, it's also one of those things, and we've talked about this before. You and I remember when Sober was like going heavy at the FPL. We're like, not saying we don't want that group, because you want every group, realistically, right? Like I want every group of people to play because that's how you get to huge levels. But the FPL user base as a whole, these are people that have spent years and hundreds of hours on something where they literally can't win shit. They literally don't care. They are fine playing for such small stakes, and they don't care. They're not going to win anything, and they're not going to invest money. The issue is that group is not going to invest a lot of money because they are more than happy with their free-to-play game that gives nothing out. So that's a group that's not going to be coming in and dumping money. Whereas obviously the DFS user base, the sports betting user base, the prediction market user base, these are all groups of people that are coming in and are willing to invest and spend. Poker players, like those are players that come in and have no problem playing a lot of money for stuff because one, they are got people that are open to gambling. Like they are fine to look at things and look at investment types and be like, oh, is that something that I'm interested in? Not saying it's gambling or anything, but like they are open to the idea of putting money into something that is not a surefire bet. Whereas other people are looking for just surefire bets. And that's kind of the issue we had with like the crypto groups. They just like, they expect to 10x their money immediately and then be done. And that's just not a user base that is realistic user base that's going to last long term.
Yeah, like I didn't have much experience with the crypto community, I guess, coming before Sport.Fun. Like there was some from So Rare, but it wasn't my experience with So Rare didn't like move me into crypto. And I would guess that if you're somebody who's super active in a lot of crypto communities, you've been part of a failure 95% of the time, but you keep doing it. Just same idea as what we were saying before. If one hits, then it works. But it's the way that they speak. And it's as if they have had dozens of successful times. And it's like, you've had one or two. And so they're like, I can't believe you're doing this because you should do. And it's like, everything that you're referencing is a failure. And yet you want them to like, oh no, you should do the new marketing. Just like that thing that I bought that is worth nothing anymore. And that's why I always struggled with a lot of the early users on FDS who were crypto people, because it was like, most of your stuff has failed.
Yeah.
And yet you're here trying to tell them what to do.
Correct.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I saw that with a lot of different comments and a lot of different things. And that's 100% an accurate assessment on things. Like you're giving an opinion based on this thing that's for sure going to work off of something that absolutely failed and is already proven to fail. That's not going to get the job done. So I definitely think that is not the user base that you're looking for. Now, that said, like that user base is going to be there and they're going to be around and they're going to exist, and they're part of the user base too. And they're part of the user base with all these platforms and all these concepts. So it's not like something in which they're going to be non-existent in a product like this. Also, like they're going to be, if a product like this is successful, they're going to be there because they are the people that are looking for the successful products. Even if they are for short time frames successful, they will always be around because that's the group that is looking to just get their guaranteed bag. They do it.
Right. That's exactly, yeah. Just like, exactly, trying to get their bag. Do you think that there is a reasonable path to having a market cap that grows, that an NFL market cap that grows higher than football by November that doesn't include a lot of these DFS people?
I think that it's probably tied to DFS people, professional gamblers, fantasy sports experts. It doesn't necessarily need to be DFS people. It could be fantasy football, like season-long fantasy users. It could be sports bettors. It could be different people. But what it's going to take, I think, is that marketing to attract more people than like one person. Like you're going to have to get some people to come in. But another key is like you got to get some people that are like will drive some people in. If you're not going to get someone that like will drive some people in and bring in more people with them, it's just not going to work long term. Like you're going to have to bring in groups of people, not just individual people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think obviously there are a couple key people that you could get, and then that just opens it up.
Yes. Like if you bring in like a couple key people, that the issue too is like, this is the other issue. You need to get people that are interested in the product. You can't just have someone that comes in that is looking for the quick buck, get a bag, and then leave. Like you have to have someone that is like at least interested in the concept and the product that are willing to like stick around. Because if someone just comes in and brings some groups of people and then they just are like, all right, we're leaving, peace, we got our bag, that doesn't do you any good. So like you need to have people that are invested. And the only way people will get invested and like the product is if they come on board and actually play and like the product. Like you can't just someone just can't, like we saw this so much with different things, like where they would pay someone to come on and that person would just not give a shit, would get their bag for their like one tweet or something and then leave, and like it doesn't do any good. You need to have someone that actually is like, oh, I actually like this, I think this concept is pretty good, and I'm gonna stick around. Like that's kind of what you need.
Yeah, I mean, every company does that.
Yeah, of course. And what happens typically is like those companies will eventually get someone that came on and is like, oh, I like this, I think this is a pretty good concept, and that's sort of like what you need for it in terms of getting it to happen.
Yeah, I think what kind of happens is the same way you want to market to like everybody, but obviously not everybody that you market to is going to join. And so in the same respect of finding basically influencers to get people to join in, you have to go to all of them, go to a lot of them. And if one or two are like, do your deal, and they're like, actually, this is pretty cool, and they join in, then there's some sort of like organic.
Correct. And like, again, like you can't just do it because like if an influencer hasn't seen the product, they're not going to know about it. They don't know if they're interested in it. But if they see it, they're going to bring in their users. Maybe they're going to bring in some, and like that's not bad. But like I think we saw it enough with So Rare. But we also saw influencers that came on to So Rare that really liked the product and stuck around and stayed, like Nepenthes. Nepenthes loved it and stayed, still around today. And we saw plenty of others. And then we saw a lot of people that just like put out a blanket tweet and did nothing, and that was it. And like, and the issue is like we sort of know this, and I guess this is kind of an issue. The pay you have to pay to influencers, like I think that's another thing is from a marketing perspective that people don't understand. People will give ideas of like, bring in this person. I'm not thinking of someone right now.
Yeah.
And like that's going to help us from a marketing perspective. Well, they don't understand. They think that these people just like come in at the goodwill of themselves and like they market it. Like you have to pay them a shitload of money. Like a shitload. And I don't think people understand how much you have to pay people. Like lower level influencers that don't have massive followings, that don't have millions and millions of people, they're still going to cost you a shitload. Like even in, like I've seen names thrown around from like the NFL perspective. Like I read most everything that goes on. I read this because like, again, like I think some suggestions people have are good. Some suggestions people have are bad. Some suggestions people have are like neutral and like don't really think. But like, so I see names and stuff that are brought up and like, I'm like, well, first of all, that person's never going to do it. Or like, second of all, like, yeah, that person might do it, but you're going to pay them a shitload and they're not going to care about your product at all, type of things. And it's like, all right, if I all of a sudden, money is not an indefinite flow of finances. Like you can't just pay 15 influencers $100,000 each. Like you just don't have that amount of money. So if I have to pay someone $100,000 and they put out one tweet and like a video and that's it, that's not great. That's not going to bring in a lot of eyes, not going to bring in a lot of people. So like I think from a marketing perspective and an advertising perspective, like when you put in money into like an influencer or someone like that, you're hoping to recoup times X amount what you paid for them and what they bring onto the platform, like the people they bring in. And I just like have seen some names and examples, like even soccer side too. Like I've seen like people are like, oh, bring on the sidemen and have the sidemen do it. And it's like, you're going to pay the sidemen $100,000 for like a couple tweets in a video. And like, are you going to really recoup $100,000 from them? Because I sure as shit don't think so. And also like some of that stuff is more so like when the platform is more mature and has been around a while, where you want stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep. I guess the thing that I keep just comparing the two, because they're the two sports that we have, is there, if we're at a time where we have, let's call it 10 seems like a big number, 10 sports, but it's like, let's say it's football, NFL, NBA, MLB, Formula One, tennis, golf, League of Legends. What else we have? Cricket and rugby. We have to assume that NFL is always the biggest one, right?
One of, yeah.
So I actually think if it's not the biggest, not that it's like a failure, but it's like either NFL, something is wrong with NFL, or there's something that we don't see right now that makes some other sport massively more popular.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of is soccer, because soccer has the more worldwide global appeal. NBA too. Like, I don't see how it could be anything but NBA, NFL, or soccer long term.
Yeah. So that was basically my question: is what were the other big one? Like,
yeah, I can't see I can't picture a world where like baseball would be like bigger than NBA or NFL. Like, I just can't imagine that would ever happen. I could see soccer again, worldwide appeal. Same thing with NBA, worldwide appeal. Like, people love it, especially in Asia. I could see that happening because, like, again, like, that's the issue with the NFL is pretty strictly America only, whereas those other sports have the worldwide global appeal. The issue for soccer is it doesn't have the American buy-in as much as the other two, and NBA is more so like it's more global, but it also is very big in America, but also it's like nowhere near the level of the NFL in America.
I think baseball has, for all intents and purposes, zero global appeal. It's the U.S. and like Japan and Korea.
You mean Italy? Italy was in the World Baseball Classic thingy semifinals.
I'll even add some Central and South America.
Yeah,
but like
the issue with it is that these are not demographics that have a lot of disposable income.
Right.
And then also, like, the demographic of the MLB is like a 70-year-old white male, which again is not really like I'm going to dump a lot of money into cryptocurrency type of person.
Well, I don't think I picture more of more fiat-based platform when they have all of these sports.
Yeah. Even so, like, someone like that, like, that's in retirement is not someone that's typically like looking to invest. People at that age are not looking for risky investments.
I think by then nobody thinks of this as investment, and it's just playing a game.
Yeah, that's fair.
So NFL, football, NBA, what's 4?
Golf.
That's what I was going to say.
Maybe golf. Golf's very big anymore. Well, I don't get it. I don't get it at all, personally. But I see it with DFS. Golf is definitely right up there among the biggest.
Do they still do like milli makers for the Masters?
Oh yeah, I'm literally looking right now. It's gotta be huge. Masters is this weekend or the next weekend, I think.
It's 2 weekends. Yeah.
2 weekends. Yeah, like even this weekend. So this weekend they have a 750K. This weekend, and then next weekend for the Masters they have 3 milli makers with $2.5, $3.5, and $5 million. So they have $10 million in prize pools for the Masters in 2 weeks just in those 3 contests.
So I think the most important thing about golf is that the demographic of people interested in golf is getting way lower.
Yeah, a lot of younger people, because I think honestly social media and YouTube and stuff has been very instrumental in golf. And also, like, I will say, like, golf demographics in golf typically have more disposable income than other user bases and other sports, and I think that plays into it as well.
And it's been going on for a while. I'm not breaking news here, but there's been like a youth revolution with golf lately that baseball would absolutely kill for.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that is, and actually, you know what? I will even give the MLB credit. How much MLB do you watch anymore?
Absolutely zero.
I watched a little bit in the playoffs last year, and I actually think a lot of the things that they've done have improved golf or improved baseball quite a bit. Like, the speed of the game and stuff is a lot more interesting. But yeah, like, golf is having a youth movement and has been having a youth movement for a little bit, and baseball just does not. I don't know anyone when I was younger, because I used to be big into baseball. I used to watch every Indians game. And when I was growing up, I would say baseball was easy too, in terms of the sports and what everyone watched. Like, at school, everyone was watching it. At home, everyone was watching it. Like everyone would watch Yankees games. If you were a Yankee fan, you watched Indians games. Like you watched Pirates games. Everyone would watch Pirates games. I don't know anybody in my real life that watches baseball anymore, except for my father-in-law watches Cubs games every so often. Like, I don't know anybody else in my real life or online life, really. Like, I don't really know anyone that watches baseball. And when I was younger, everyone watched baseball. That was just like I used to watch like every Indians game pretty much. Like, we had Fox Sports Ohio growing up, and I like would watch the Indians game. So like every night I would have the Indians game on as I was sitting around. And now I don't do that anymore at all. But
you know, they're not the Indians anymore, right?
They're the Guardians now, yeah. But I'm using what I used to.
But watch. They were absolutely.
And I don't know anyone who watches baseball anymore.
Like Luca said, baseball has been great. Did you see how the WBC turned out? Electric.
I literally don't. I literally have no idea. I know that the Americans lost to someone.
Venezuela.
Yeah, sure. And I know that like everyone, and then they lost to like, they beat Italy or something, and everyone on Italy was American anyways.
I think
but like, I didn't know anyone. I did not see. And now again, obviously, I'm in my bubble of people that I know, but like I know quite a few people, and I know a lot of people involved in sports, right? A lot of people that play DFS and play a lot of different DFS sports. Not one of them played baseball or mentioned the World Baseball Classic.
I think baseball is turning, or the biggest issue with baseball right now is one that hockey has as well, that people who like those sports absolutely love them.
Yeah.
And there's just not that many people. Like every Rangers game is sold out in New York, whether they're good or bad. And you go to a Rangers game and you would think that hockey is the biggest sport in the world. And then you realize that there are 25,000 people who like the Rangers and they just go to every game.
So I will give a counterpoint to this, is that actually NFL has seen a bit of a resurgence over the last couple of years. They're getting a lot more viewership on TV.
Who is?
The NHL.
I think that's
just a lot lower than the others to begin with.
Yeah. But I think that was just a new TV contract.
No, because it was on like ESPN. Oh, well, this is how stupid hockey is. You know where I live. I am blacked out from Sabres games.
Huh.
I have no way of watching a Sabres game legally. None. For like majority of their games. All I want to do is watch the Sabres. I can't even fucking pay to watch the Sabres.
I was going to say, because you're like out of the, like they're not local, but they're
blacked out for me.
Yeah.
I literally cannot, and I don't have the channel to watch them. So I literally, Laird, think about this day and age, Laird, all the stuff and all the subscriptions and all this shit. I cannot pay to watch the Sabres.
Yeah, that's wild.
In any facet.
I also will say that hockey in real life and on TV is really fun.
Oh, it's awesome. I would say, yeah. So I can, that's a great topic just in general. Sports. All right. Baseball, great in person, terrible on TV to me.
Yep.
I think it's like in person, you're just there. But in person, you're just there because you want to chill on a nice summer night, have some drinks, have some hot dogs, enjoy, spend some time with some people. And then on TV, you just don't watch it till the playoffs because they play too many games. NBA is awesome in person, and it's pretty good on TV.
Yep.
It's pretty good in both. Football is absolute dog shit in person, and it's great on TV. Because the TV timeouts and the in-between plays. So every play, there's typically, the play lasts like, let's say 5 seconds on average. And the typical in-between plays is 25 seconds. And then TV timeouts are like 4 minutes. And so basically, if you were at a game, at an NFL game, you maybe see, let's say 10 minutes worth of actual NFL gameplay in person, which is terrible.
I don't think there's a worse in-person sport than the NFL.
Nothing's worse. And people would probably laugh at that unless you want to go get drunk as shit and party.
So I used to be a Jets season ticket holder.
Yeah.
And I was literally just about to say, like, I would get to the stadium at 9:30, 10 a.m. for a 1 o'clock game. Yep. And yeah, you get absolutely blitzed. And then, yeah, the next 3 hours are great.
Yeah.
But it is a brutal watch in the stadium.
The actual gameplay is fucking terrible to watch in the stadium.
What's funny is that you kind of referenced how little actual gameplay there is, because that also applies to baseball.
Yes.
But baseball is almost like you barely have to pay attention to the action also. Yeah. Like in the NFL, you still want to like pay attention to the action that happens. So you still have to be aware of what's happening. So you spend so much time watching them get up from the ground, huddle up, line up, because you don't want to miss the 3 seconds that happens after that. Whereas baseball, you're just like in and out. You hear the crack of the bat, you look over, and it's, yeah.
Well, in NFL now, everyone just watches Red Zone channel.
Like so, a lot of Red Zone, absolutely. Red Zone murdered in-person NFL.
Yep, absolutely. And then hockey's great on both. Hockey's great both.
Yep.
I again, we've talked about this before. I don't understand golf at all. I don't understand why the hell you'd want to be in person. I don't understand why you'd want to watch it on TV. That's me. I'm not going to comment for other people. I just I don't understand it.
In-person golf is similar to baseball in terms of the experience. That you're just out for a nice walk on a nice day. But yeah, TV golf is way better. Even just the technology that they have now, that like you see a shot in real life and you're just like, oh, okay. And then you see it on TV and they have all these angles and all these stats about it. And it's, Andy's right. Golf is a great walk. That's all it is.
Yeah. I couldn't be, you'd have to pay me to go to a golf event. I've told people that. People, like, I got invited to the only golf event I would go to is one where we're like in a suite on like whatever green, just chilling, drinking and eating food all day. That's the only golf event I'd go to. I've been invited to them before, and I'm like, what's the situation? They're like, we're walking. I'm like, nope. Like, absolutely not.
But yeah, I think, and AJ will love hearing us talk about all of this because he is full-fledged trying to get golf at it, I'm sure.
I've definitely gotten some conversation, but I'm not arguing about golf being added. I think golf makes quite a bit of sense because it's a year-long type of product. Their only time frames in which they are off is, I think for like January, they don't really do much.
December, January.
They have weird swings where like nobody good really plays, but that's not a bad thing where you like have no good play. Like that's, I think actually from a Sport.Fun perspective, golf works pretty well in theory. But yeah, like I think golf makes quite a bit of sense. To add. That said, I don't have interest in golf, but I think it makes sense from an SDF perspective.
Yeah. So am I right in assuming that you think NFL will pass soccer?
I think that there is definite possibilities for it to happen long term. I don't know if that is going to be in the next year or two, but I think longer term it has the possibility to do so.
Okay. Because my last question was going to be, when is it going to happen?
Yeah, it could happen this year. Could happen in the future. I don't have a hard stance on that either way. I could see it go both ways.
When you say this year, do you mean before, like into the season, or like somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, this calendar year.
Okay.
Like I could see it happening. I don't know if it's going to happen like this soon though.
Yeah. I think that not that SDF cares like which one is bigger, but the fact that both seasons kind of start at the same time, like the preseason excitement they share it. And so it's not like it's not like a January start for one of them that you do that. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Yeah, do that. Sean, good to talk to you. And we'll be back. No, you're on vacation next week.
I am. I'll be sitting out by a pool, Laird.
Jealous.
With a nice drink in my hand, eating nice meals.
Love it. Love it. Anyway, for those of you who are not on vacation, I'll be here next week talking more Sport.Fun. So check that out. Thanks for coming. Make sure you get outside.